A trade can be done and still fail. A payment can be sent and still not be final. On the surface, both look complete. The screen says success. The balances update. Everyone acts like the risk is gone. But underneath, there are actually two very different processes at work. One just matches promises, who owes what to whom. The other decides when those promises become real, when you can't take them back. Most people never separate those layers. Institutions do, because the money isn't truly safe at the moment of payment. It's safe at the moment of settlement. And once you see that divide clearly, you start to understand why Ripple only needs one side of it to win, and why the rails that control settlement keep pulling everything toward them. If you follow crypto long enough, you start hearing the same story in different costumes. Money is slow, banks are outdated, and the fix is simply a faster rail. But inside the real financial system, speed isn't the organizing principle. Risk is. That's the disconnect. When most people hear payment, they imagine one clean action. Value moves from A to B. In institutions, it's a chain of processes with different owners, different incentives, and different ways to break. The clearest way to see it is this. The system runs on two machines that most people collapse into one. Clearing is one machine. Settlement is another. They touch, but they don't mean the same thing. And if you don't separate them, you can't understand why Ripple's strategy makes sense, or why it doesn't need to replace the entire system to matter. In this video, we'll rebuild the picture from the inside out. We'll define clearing the way institutions actually use it. We'll define settlement as the moment obligations become final. Then we'll show why settlement is the choke point, and why owning that one layer can quietly reshape everything above it. Everything here is for educational and entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. If clear, no hype crypto education helps you make sense of all this. Hit like and subscribe. It tells YouTube this series is worth showing to other newcomers, and it helps me keep building it for you. Clearing is not the act of moving money. Clearing is the act of organizing obligations. When two parties trade, what they create is a promise. One side promises delivery. The other promises payment. Clearing is the process that makes those promises visible, comparable, and enforceable across massive volumes. This is where institutions track who owes what, under what rules, with what collateral, and under what time constraints. It's exposure measurement. It's reconciliation. It's where decisions get made about what can be netted and what must be funded. Clearing sits on top of dense infrastructure, order systems, risk engines, compliance checks, credit limits, operational rules. Not because finance is inefficient, but because finance assumes failure. That's why clearing is conservative by design. It prefers known counterparties, permissioned environments, and rules that slow things down just enough to absorb mistakes without breaking the system. Settlement is different. Settlement is not about organizing promises. Settlement is the moment the promise becomes irreversible. In simple terms, settlement is when the ledger changes in a final way. The system stops saying, "This is what we think is owed," and starts saying, "This is now true." That shift is operational, not philosophical. Finality is where counterparty risk collapses. It's where exposure windows close. It's where treasury positions become real and collateral is actually delivered. And this is where structure shows itself. If settlement is slow, everything above it has to compensate. Buffers grow, collateral piles up. Capital sits idle just to survive the time between agreed and final. So when people say crypto makes payments faster, institutions hear something else. They're not chasing speed. They're chasing certainty. If settlement were instant everywhere, much of the modern system wouldn't exist. But it isn't, so the system adapted. One of its main adaptations is netting. Netting exists because institutions don't want to settle every obligation in gross. If a bank owes you 100 and you owe it 98, nobody wants to move both amounts. They want to move two and move on. Netting reduces funding needs and liquidity strain. It reduces the number of settlement events that must occur perfectly. And it reveals what the system is really doing, optimizing around friction. Netting is a clearing function. It compresses obligations so settlement becomes survivable. But it also concentrates power. The more you net, the more the system depends on the institutions and rules that decide what counts as real exposure. Clearing becomes a gravitational center. Settlement is different. Settlement is where gravity turns into leverage. Here's the insight most people miss. Clearing is where risk is measured. Settlement is where risk ends. If you control clearing, you shape participation, margin, and collateral rules. You influence who gets access and at what cost. But if you control settlement, you control the moment everything else orbits. You control finality. You control the timing of truth. That's the choke point. In finance, the most valuable infrastructure is the infrastructure nobody can root around. And final settlement is almost impossible to bypass because every institution eventually needs the same thing. Obligations must become final somewhere. So when you hear that Ripple only needs one layer, this is what it means. Ripple doesn't need to own every clearinghouse, exchange, or internal bank system. It needs to be the layer institutions trust to end exposure, reliably, quickly, and within rules regulators accept. Once that happens, clearing can stay fragmented and institution-specific. Settlement becomes the common denominator, and common denominators attract liquidity. Now we can place Ripple in the system without forcing a false story. Ripple is not trying to rebuild finance as one giant blockchain. The strategy is narrower and more pragmatic. Ripple builds infrastructure that meets institutions where they already operate: regulated custody, prime brokerage aligned with market structure, treasury integration that speaks cash management language, and a settlement layer that can close obligations with deterministic finality on the XRP ledger. The goal isn't to replace internal risk engines. It's to shrink the exposure window those engines exist to manage. That's also where Ripple's stablecoin strategy fits, without hype. A regulated stable dollar can act as a settlement instrument institutions already understand. It fits inside compliance constraints and holds value steady during the exact window where stability matters most. You might say RLUSD once, to be precise. Most of the time, it's simpler to say Ripple's regulated stablecoin. The point isn't branding, it's function. This is settlement design, not retail storytelling. If this were just theory, it would be interesting. But it matters now because the signals are no longer subtle. On the institutional side, Ripple is aligning with regulated market structure players, firms embedded in execution, clearing, and financing. That's not Ripple trying to replace clearing. It's Ripple positioning itself exactly where clearing hands off to settlement. When institutions talk about capital efficiency, collateral efficiency, and clearing stability, they're describing pressure from above settlement. Ripple showing up there signals integration, not disruption theater. On the protocol side, the XRP ledger is evolving toward controlled participation on a public network. Permissioned domains and permissioned DEX flows aren't about turning the ledger into a retail playground. They're about giving regulated institutions access control and enforceable rules without forcing private chain compromises. Those controls aren't optional. They're prerequisites. When settlement technology and compliance primitives converge on the same network, it stops looking experimental and starts looking infrastructural. So what changes if Ripple succeeds at owning settlement? Liquidity routing changes. Reliable finality shrinks buffers, reduces idle capital, and tightens exposure windows. That changes how risk is priced. Treasury behavior changes. Treasury teams care about timing and certainty. When settlement becomes predictable, Treasury can automate around it. That's when tokenized assets, always-on markets, and real-time collateral movement start to feel like an operating system, not a pilot. And regulation changes role. It becomes a route map instead of a wall. Institutions adopt systems that allow compliant participation, especially when they can operate controlled flows on a public settlement layer. And the narrative changes. This stops being about blockchains being faster than banks. It becomes about where finality lives. Because once finality moves, everything else reorganizes around it. The contrast that matters is simple. Most people think finance is about moving money. Institutions build finance to manage risk. Clearing is the machine that measures and organizes risk. Settlement is the moment risk ends and reality becomes final. That's why Ripple doesn't need to own everything to matter. It only needs to become the settlement layer institutions trust. Because settlement is the point every other system must orbit. If that happens, the system doesn't collapse into one chain. It becomes layered. Clearing stays diverse. Settlement becomes shared, deterministic, compliant, and embedded in real financial operations. That's what winning looks like in institutional finance. Not headlines, not hype. A quiet shift in where finality lives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. This channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and is not financial advice. Always do your own research and keep the discussion respectful. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, or sharing it with a friend.